Okay. So we've had this seedy boy out for a little bit, and everybody tried to make a deck out of it, and then we got this card called Cubic Ascension, and then everybody really tried to make a deck out of it, and nobody liked it. So we tried again, and now Konami's like, try again, like a little harder, as they updated the skill Cubic Seeds, which had originally said at the beginning of the duel, add 3 Vijam the Cubic Seed to your deck. This skill can only be used if you begin the duel with a extra deck that contains no cards other than Cubic cards. So Konami, being the Konami that they are, have failed to update the text of the skill that they've updated. So what the updated version of the skill says is that basically that you could play up to 6 spells and traps that are not Cubic cards. You still can't play any non-Cubic monsters, but you can play some spells and traps. So we'll start with the first card of the deck, which is the card that's exclusive only to the skill, and for good measure. What does Vijam do? Vijam says that it cannot be destroyed by battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can place this card face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell card. And if you do, place 1 Cubic counter on that opponent's monster. Monsters with a Cubic counter cannot attack, also negate their effects. This card is treated as a continuous spell card by this effect. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your spell and trap zone. So basically, this is your Stally / Negati boy. It basically can win you the duel if your opponent has no way of dealing with this outside of just battle destruction. Starting with the actual first card in the actual deck, it's Duza the Meteor Cubic Vessel. This is your Millie boy, and it says if this card is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 Cubic card from your deck to the graveyard. Once per turn, during either player's turn, if a monster was sent to your graveyard this turn while this card was face up on the field, you can make this card gain 200 attack for each monster with a different name in your graveyard until the end of this turn. The main effect, though, is the mill effect, where you can send any Cubic card from your deck to the graveyard. So typically, you're sending your Cubic spells and or trap to the graveyard, so you could set up for big plays. Then we have Cubic Dharma, which says you take no battle damage from attacks involving your Cubic monsters. And also, you could use each of the following effects of Cubic Dharma once per turn. During your main phase, you can send 1 Cubic card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 1 card. You can also banish this card from your graveyard and target 1 Cubic monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Next card, Cubic Karma. It's not Cubic Dharma, it's Cubic Karma. When this card is activated, you can target 1 Cubic monster you control, except Vijam, the Cubic Seed. Send any number of Vijam, the Cubic Seeds from your hand and or deck to the graveyard, then that monster gains 800 attack for each, even if this card leaves the field. During your opponent's turn, if a Vijam the Cubic Seed is special summoned by the effect of a Cubic monster, send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, have your opponent's life points. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Cubic monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this is a weird card. Basically, we really just care about that last effect, which is you could banish this card so that you could search any Cubic monster from your deck to your hand. Great effect. Typically, you want to discard this off of something like a Cubic Dharma so that you can get into the graveyard easier. The on-field effect is very situational, but you technically can summon a Duza, and then you could activate Cubic Karma, and then you could mill 3 Vijams, ideally from your deck, but you could also discard from your hand if you have any, and then that's 2400 attack boost. Quick maths. The effect to have your opponent's life points is insanely never going to happen. Like, technically it can happen. It's not going to happen. And ideally, you don't really want this to be on the field ever. And if you have to have it on the field, you don't want it to be on the field too long, just because its graveyard effect is really its best effect. And also, it can just clog your field, and you don't want to get to that situation. Next card is the money card of the deck. What it says is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, special summon 1 Vijam the Cubic Seed from your deck. And if you do, change the attack target to it and perform damage calculation. A very nice effect. Basically, protection from battle. Technically a battle trap, though, so it can be played around. But it's nice to be able to survive an attack while being able to negate an opponent's effect without them really being able to do anything about it, and just basically tutor a Vijam from the deck onto the field. The second effect, though, is the graveyard effect, which is the big boy effect, and that says if your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Vijam the Cubic Seed from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Then, if only your opponent controlled a monster when this effect was activated, you can special summon up to 2 more Vijam the Cubic Seed. So again, from anywhere except the banish pile. So basically, if the conditions are met, which is just having 2,000 or more life points lower than your opponent, then you can just special summon 3 Vijams from most places, and then your opponent is just like, okay, well, how do I deal with this? And the fact that it's a trap that you could just activate on you could banish from the graveyard during your opponent's turn, during your battle phase, when they commit everything, is just kind of like obscene. It's almost broken, but there's so many ways to play around this, especially when people know what the cubic strategy is. They know that, okay, I'm just not gonna ever get to a point where I have 2,000 or less life points than you. Next and last cubic monster that we play in the deck is Buster Gundil, the Cubic Behemoth. Its effect is cannot be normal, summoned, or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 cubic monsters you control to the graveyard. It cannot be special summoned by other ways. If summoned this way, this card gains 3,000 attack. This card can make a second and third attack during each battle phase. This card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card, either by battle or card effect. You can target up to 3 cubic monsters in your graveyard, special summon them. Then you could add 1 cubic card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So, basically your boss monster. It's kind of a cool card. The thing is, Karma Cut still existing in the meta means that one Karma Cut and you're like, well, I'm done. Also, you have to get to the point where you actually control 3 cubic monsters. And while Cubic Ascension helps you achieve that by being able to special summon 3 monsters with 1 effect, getting to the point where you're actually able to resolve that effect of Cubic Ascension can be very difficult. So until you get to that point, this ends up being a dead card in most situations. That being said, being able to attack 3 times means you basically have 9k damage on the board that your opponent is going to have to respond to immediately if they don't want to get OTK'd. Now we'll go on to the techs. First up, we'll have Storm. Storm, the reason I play this is because this is a very, very nice backer removal that could also synergize well with the cards that have both on-field and graveyard effects. So Storm lets you destroy as many spell traps you control as possible and destroy that many spell trap cards your opponent controls as possible up to the number of cards destroyed by this effect. So basically non-targeting backer destruction. Next, we have enemy controller, the good old Econ, which is, you know what it does. Tribute, Econ take, or change battle positions. The good old reliable. The fact that we have so many monsters that we could technically swarm with means we could potentially overwhelm the opponent with an Econ take. Finally, we have Karma Cut. Your good old reliable discard to banish. We have so many cards that benefit from being in the graveyard that it offsets the fact that we have to discard to be able to benefit from Karma Cut. Alright. Now for some replays. So we have ourselves a replay against Shark, Reginald Castle, and literally the only time you'll see Cubics with Cubic Seeds as it is now actually beating the meta variant of the Shark deck. So we're going to go first. Our hand it's a hand. I don't know. I never know with these hands. We're going to go activate the Cubic Dharma. I'm going to activate its effect so we can discard the Karma so we could draw a card, drawing into the Karma Cut. A very nice top deck. Karma going to banish the graveyard so we can add Duza from the deck to the hand. We're going to normal summon the Duza so that we can mill from the deck the Karma again, so we can search again. Thinning our deck, getting ourselves some advantage, and chilling. Searching another Duza for the follow-up. We're going to set a back row, and we're going to end our turn. They're going to normal summon the heavy infantry, to which we say, please stop. Karma Cut, discard the V-Jump so we can banish it. No Forbidden Lance, feels nice, man. They go ahead, set a back row, and end their turn. We're like, alright, are we actually going to win this duel? This is literally our only chance. So we go ahead, we top the Econ, very cool. We're gonna normal summon the Duza. We're saying screw the Ascension aspect of this whole strategy. We're gonna go ahead and mill the Karma. We're gonna manage the Karma so we can add a Duza from the deck to the hand. We're then going to go ahead, discard the Buster Gundil so we could draw into another card, drawing to our second Econ. And since we sent a monster to the graveyard this turn, we're actually able to activate both Duza's effects on the field. There are 2 different monster names in our graveyard. So in the damage step of our attack, we're going to boost by 400 so we could deal 2k direct attack. Then in the damage step of the second Duza's attack, we're going to do the same, and that is exact lethal, baby. They had a delay on their back row, but it turns out that delay was very likely a mystical space typhoon. So MST not strong enough to negate this OTK. Okay. Now we're going first against Seto Kaiba. We're going to try to do a replay where we actually beat Kaiba legit. There's like a 99% chance you're going to lose against Ultimate Dragon's Kaiba, so in most cases, just give up. But we have to farm for our replays. So we're going to go first with an interesting hand, Vijam the Zoo. We're going to set one of our Vijams, we're going to set our Cubic Ascension, and we're going to end our turn. They're going to activate Ancient Rules. We're going to pray they don't have a Dragon Spirit of White. They don't, as they special summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon from the hand. They don't have themselves a synchro play, which is very nice to us, so they're going to attack to our Vijam. We figured, you know what, before we get into having to deal in risky territory of having that Ascension get banished by Dragon Spirit of White, let's just activate it now. We'll get ourselves all 3 Vijams on the field and see what we top into. We special summon the Vijam from the deck, and they attack into it as they're forced to by the Ascension. We decide not to negate their effects or their attacks, just because there's really no point to. And who knows, maybe we'll get some cheesy Econ take shenanigans that we could make use out of. That's not the case, but we do top deck into the Buster Gundil. So we're going to normal summon our Vijam, the third one. We're going to flip up the Vijam that was set, and we're going to send all 3 to the graveyard so we can special summon the Buster Gundil. And now we don't have OTK because we're literally 1 attack short from it. So instead, we're just going to crash into their Blue Eyes, suiciding our Buster Gundil, but since it was destroyed, it's going to be able to special summon from the graveyard all 3 Vijams. And then we're going to search a Cubic Dharma from the deck to the hand, hoping that we can at least start getting our strategy moving forward, slowly but possibly. they're going to go now. They're going to activate Cards of Constants because, of course, discarding the White Stone of Ancients from the hand so they could draw 2 cards. They're going to then banish that White Stone of Ancients in their main phase so they could add the Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard back to the hand. Activating Ultimate Dragons by revealing both Blue Eyes White Dragons so they could add Polymerization from outside the deck to the hand. Activating that Polymerization, sending 2 Blue Eyes to the graveyard so they could special summon the Twin Birds Dragon. If we don't activate Vijam's effect, we will get banished. Thankfully so, we could activate Vijam's effect in response to them attacking us to negate the effects of the Twin Burst by placing it in the Spell Trap Zone. So, they try to banish us because we're not destroyed, but we say, rip having an effect. So, that's the end of their turn. Alright, back to us. We top into the Cubic Dharma, a very good top deck. So we're going to go activate the Dharma. We're going to discard the Karma, draw another card. We're going to banish the Karma from the graveyard so we can add Duza from the deck to the hand. We're going to normal summon that Duza. Duza's going to mill another Karma. We're going to attempt to banish that Karma before we get the chance to do so. The Crow that was in their hand all along is going to say, I banish thee. No Karma for me, which is really sad because we were really committing for a Buster Gundil play here. So instead, what we wanted to do was go into Buster Gundil, kill the Twin Burst, and then go into Special Summon 2 Vijams and a Duza to get more mills, but we didn't get that luxury, so they go now. They're going to Special Summon Ancient Rules number 2, a Dragon Spirit of White, banishing our Vijam forever. We can't get it back, so that's a feel sad. As they normal summon the White Stone of Ancients, they go into Synchro Summon, and now this duel is very hard. Dragon Spirit of White basically cucks the hell out of us, but we're going to have to try. As they, in the end phase, special summon from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon. I was kind of happy that they summoned the Spirit Dragon in defense mode instead of killing the Duza, because now I could at least hope to make a Buster Gundil play since we lack the Vijam number 3. So we rip into the Cubic Karma, a great top deck. Dharma is going to discard Karma so we can draw a card. Drawing to Econ might be good for later. We don't have a play just yet. We know that the Spirit Dragon is going to negate the Karma's search effect from the grave. So we just put all our Vijams in attack position. We attack into the Spirit Dragon. We attack into the Blue Eyes White Dragon. We put both of those Vijams into the Spell Trap Zone to negate both of those monsters' effects and prevent them from attacking. We don't take any battle damage because we don't play Holy Guard, but we play Cubic Dharma, which allows us to protect our life points. So we're able to do big, aggressive plays like that. Now, the Spirit Dragon's effect is negated. However, that's only while it has a counter. So they are able to tag out into Azure successfully. Azure is able to activate its effect. Now, thankfully, they are a little clogged now, so they can't special summon anything. They can't go into any rank 8 plays or anything like that. Heliopolis is very scary, so the fact that they don't have access to it now is good for us. However, on their turn, they're going to banish another White Stone of Ancients so they can add Dragon Spirit of White from the graveyard back to the hand, tributing over to Twin Burst as well as Blue Eyes White Dragon so they could normal summon the Dragon Spirit of White, banishing the Dharma. We kept the Dudes in attack position because we didn't care about our life points. Let's bait them into attacking us. They need 2,500 and 3,100 attack just to lethal us in this situation, and I felt like that wasn't going to happen feasibly. So they're going to go ahead. They're going to attack for 2,500 and 2,500, killing the Duza. I'd much rather have the Dharma banished at this point rather than the Vijams. So I was very happy that they didn't banish the Vijam. However, the OTK that we do now, we still likely would have been able to OTK them thanks to the Econ that we ripped into, but as is now, we're going to go ahead, special summon the Vijam from the Spell and Trap Zone, both of them. We're going to go ahead and banish the Karma that was sent there last turn so we can add a Duza from the deck to the hand. All 3 of our Karmas are banished, but that's okay. As we mill with the Duza, the Dharma. Dharma's going to be able to activate its effect when banished so that we can add the Buster Gundil from the graveyard back to the hand, sending all 3 cubic monsters to the graveyard so we can special summon the Buster Gundil. Gonna attack, going to attack, and going to attack. Feels good, my friends. It would have been a slower OTK if they killed the Vijam instead of the Dharma, but at the very least, we would have been able to normal summon the Duza that we searched. We would have been able to get Vijam to Econ take one of their 2,500 attack beaters, crash both into each other, and then just slowly but surely pick out all their resources. All right, now we are going second against Anthony. 22 card deck, 7 card extra deck. I'm going to assume this is Thunder Dragons, but we'll see. We start with the Vijam, so we're just going to set it. We're going to set the Econ, and we're going to end our turn. Not really much we could do here, but we could just hope that the Vijam is going to be enough of a wall for us to be able to survive. They activate the charge of the Light Brigade, mill in 3 so they can add Raiden from the deck to the hand. Mill in a light and 2 darks. So they have Levy set up ready if they have it in the hand. They normal summon the Raiden. They mill a Levy as well as a Melody. We're starting to think that they may not have the Levineer, as they probably would have done that first, and it seems like they don't. As they banish 2 so they can special summon the Dragon Duo, going into an Onimaru. then activating the Dragon Hawk's effect from the hand so they could resummon that Dragon Duo, attacking to our face-down monster. It was a Vijam, which means we get to negate the Duo, which means no search for you. That does give them the opportunity to attack directly for 3k, which to me I say, sure, that means I could actually resolve Ascension. So that's the end of their turn. It's now our turn. As we rip into the Econ, we're going to resummon the Vijam back to the field so there could be a wall again. We're going to set a back row, and we're going to end our turn. We figured, hey, may as well have Cubic Karma in case they try to levy pop us so that we could get the Karma in the graveyard and then search with it. We still have an Econ, so we're feeling relatively protected. Okay, Dragon Roar's here. Going to add back that Dragon Hawk from graveyard back to the hand. Dragon Duel is going to attempt the boost, but no. Level Duplicado is here, revealing the Dragon Hawk to make the Dragon Duel level 6. Dragon Hawk going to special summon the Dragon Rar so we can make M7. M7 is going to be detaching, so we could be returning. Econ Take says, okay, well, I will just special summon this then. No levy, so we just end our turn. Or rather, they end their turn. Now it's back up to us. We're going to go ahead and rip into the Ascension, a nice little top deck, because now we can actually do things with the life points that we lack. As they go, they're going to set a monster. M7 is going to detach so they can return their own Dragon Duel back to the hand. And then they're going to attempt to attack for game. But the Ascension is here, so feel fear. As we special summon from the deck, the Vijam, which doesn't have to activate its effect. We could just leave it on the field as a wall. So we take the Onimaru's attack. And we do activate its effect because I forgot how this duel went, which means we negated the Onimaru's effect, and they attempt to go for lethal, but now we have Ascension in the graveyard and no monsters on the field, while they control some monsters, which means we can special summon up to 3 Vijams from anywhere that's not the badge pile, as we special summon 2 Vijams from the deck, and now we have the advantage. We are in a good position here now because they've already used their level duplication. They control an Xyz monster, and we know that there's no way they could get this Onimaru out of the field without tributing over it. So we're kind of chilling here. In the main phase, we special summon our Vijam, and we just end our turn. We don't have to do anything. We're able to just let them do the things. And it turns out that their face-down monster was an Aloof Lupine. As they tribute over to Onimaru to normal summon the Dragon Roar, it doesn't matter because they can't get any of these monsters off the field. Their only real win con would be Heliopolis, but they can't access it. So we're just chilling. We negate 2 of their monster effects. We let the Lupine do whatever it needs to. We don't have any room to be in the spell trap zone, so the Vijam's just gonna chill here. Alright, now we're gonna resummon those Vijams. And, you know, we could probably just, like, stall for time if we want to. Like, we could just deck them out. But we decided to be a little more aggressive there. As we activate the Storm so we could pop our own Karma. Karma going to banish from the graveyard so we could add the Duza from the deck to the hand. We're going to send all 3 Vijams to the graveyard so we can special summon from the hand the Busted Gundil. Normal summon that Duza. We're going to mill in another Ascensions for the follow-up. We're going to go ahead. We're going to test for delays. We're going to attack the Dragon Roar. And the attack goes through. They have nothing left to special summon, or they feel no need to. As we attack into the M7. And then Ascension is going to special summon 1 Vijam from the graveyard as we go into the old reliable Econ Take their Aloof Lupine, and that's game. Alright, we are going first against another Kaiba, DOCD, 10 card extra deck, so it is Ultimate Dragons. Now this replay I remember, and I just wanted to show off the once in a lifetime situation that's never going to actually happen. So we're going to summon the Duza, we mill the Cubic Karma, so we can banish the Karma, and add another Duza from deck to the hand. You could say you may as well just mill the Ascension here, but so many people when they see Ascension, they'll know immediately they'll play around it. And especially if they summon a Spirit Dragon, we can't really use that Ascension anyway. So at least we can thin the deck and give ourselves more immediate advantage right now. So they're going to go ahead. They're going to add the Sage with Eyes, or normal summon rather, the Sage with Eyes of Blue, so they could add the White Sun of Agents from deck to the hand into the cards of Consonants, discarding the White Sun of Agents to draw 2 cards, setting a back row. And in the end phase, they're going to be able to special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck onto the field. So now we're checking to see if that back row was live. At this point, it wasn't. So we go ahead, we activate Karma on the field. In fact, you rarely see milling the 2 Vijams in the deck, as well as sending the Vijam in the hand to the graveyard, so we can boost the Duza by 800 for each. That's a 2400 attack boost. We go ahead and we normal summon Duza number 2 to mill Ascension. We did feel delay, so now we know we do not want to activate this Duza's effect, the one with 4k attack, to boost by, I guess, 200, since we technically did send Vijam to the graveyard this turn. We could boost by 200 for each monster with different names in the graveyard. If we did that, though, Ultimate Providence would have been able to negate and destroy that Duza. So we just attack for exact lethal, 4k baby. Alright, we are going second against Yami Yugi, and I do remember this replay was a good representation of what happens when you go off against a very aggressive deck that likes to hide behind hand traps and bully them with their own strategy. Yeah, think you can stall me? I'm not the king of stall at all. My stalling is quite exploitable. Well, that's okay. They're going to go first, and they're going to pass their turn, so we're going to be like, all right, you have like hand traps galore, right? So we see our hand is all V-Champs. In general, we hate that, but we think in this situation, that ain't that bad. We're just going to set the V-Champ, we're going to end their turn. They're going to go and pass again, so we're going to set the second V-Champ. We think, all right, if this is actually Lunalights, then we're chilling. If this is Fire Kings, we're going to lose anyway, am I right? So they're going to go ahead. They're going to eventually do something. So they normal summon the Emerald Bird, discarding the Martin so they could draw a card. Martin being sent to the graveyard by card effect is going to allow them to add a Lunalight fusion from the deck to the hand. Yellow Martin is going to return the Emerald Bird from the field to the hand so they can special summon the Yellow Martin from the graveyard, activating the Lunalight fusion so that we could use the Emerald Bird as well as the Yellow Martin as material to make Cat Dancer. Emerald Bird being sent to the graveyard by a card effect is going to be able to special summon the banished Yellow Martin back onto the field. Cat Dancer is going to be able to tribute that Martin so we could attack a lot. So, Cat Dancer are going to attack once, to which we say, ow, 100 damage. And V-Jam is here, happier, as we negate their effects and be played into the spell trap zone. And that's the end of their turn. So, we just do it again. We special summon the V-Jump from the Spell and Trap Zone. We go ahead, activate the Dharma this time. We figured we can stall them and we could be super mean, but we have to be cautious about it because White Rabbit could kind of get rid of our Dharma, and Dharma is our way of being able to basically prevent ourselves from taking damage. And it seems on the surface like we could kind of like just stay in defense position and we're chilling, right? But it's not out of the realm for them to get into a game state where they go and summon a White Rabbit, clear our back row, make a Big Daddy Saber Dancer with 4k or more attack, and then summon 2 level 4 monsters that they could make a rank 4 with, that rank 4 being the Butter Spy that changes battle positions and reduces attack. So if we got to that point, we'd have to make sure we're prepared. So by having 3 cards that deal with that, 2 Dharmas that prevent us from taking battle damage, as well as an enemy controller that could let us econ take away the monster that we put into attack position, we're basically just chilling now. So they can't get to that point, so we're continuously just getting back to our Dharmas and our enemy controller set, and we're just chilling. They can do whatever they want, but they can't break this board. So they discard their hand traps, discarding Balan Boxer. They see the second V-Sham, and they're feeling sad. Putting their Cat Dancer defense position, they attack into the third V-Sham, discarding another Balan Boxer. Try to stall me out, baby. We have Karma Cuts, we don't even need to use them. They go into rank 4 play now. The Photon Papillon Operative, I thought it was a Butter Spy, but I was wrong. The Photon Papillon Operative is here to change the V-Jam into attack position, but we have Dharma, which says we don't take any battle damage anyway. So you could do as many attacks as you want. Alright, we are going first against the Yusei Fudo with a 21 card deck. Let's see if this is Thunder Dragons again. Alright, our hand is interesting. Gundil is kind of dead, but that's okay. We have Gundil. We're going to go ahead and norm some the Duza. We're going to mill the Karma. Again, I don't like to mill the Ascension right away just because it's so easy for people to read and just kind of play around. So at least we'll get some advantage by milling the Karma and banishing it to add another Duza for a follow-up turn. If we really need Ascension, we can summon that second Duza next turn and get that Ascension in the graveyard. We're going to set our enemy controller, we're going to set our Cubic Ascension, and we're going to end our turn. They're going to go ahead and normal summon the Lupine, doing the big boy banish, banishing the Dragon Roar and the Dragon Dark to get a lot of advantage from both. Going to special summon from the deck the Dragon Roar, and going to add from the deck to the hand the Dragon Hawk. Going to the reveal Dragon Hawk to special summon from the bench pile the Dragon Roar. Going into the M7. Now in most situations, Bouncer would have been a problem for us. So the fact that they didn't go into it is kind of, I don't get why, but I guess they really wanted to detach with M7 to add back a Dragon Roar for the follow-up, and I guess they didn't feel the Duza was really that scary. In the situation we were in now, the fact that we could so easily get Ascension to the graveyard meant that I wasn't so heavily impeded by a Bouncer, but it was still something that could have definitely put some pressure on me if they summed it. However, they go ahead, they destroy our Duza with Lupine, they attack our life points directly with the M7 and end their turn. We could have stopped those attacks, but we figured it was better for us to be able to actually interrupt them later on once we get Ascension live. And now that our life points are greater than 2,000, or I always have problems saying this. Now that the life point difference is greater than 2,000, we're chilling. As we summon our second Duza, we get to successfully mill the Cubic Ascension from the deck. And we end our turn. They go ahead, activate Charge of the Light Brigade, mill in 3 so they can add Raiden from the deck to the hand. Reveal and Dragon Roar so they can add themselves a Dragon Hawk from the graveyard back to the hand. M7 going to detach so we could add another Dragonhawk from the graveyard back to the hand. I'm going to activate the Dragonhawk's effect to special summon the Dragon Dark. Going to reveal the Raiden with the level duplication skill so we can make Dragon Dark level 4. Using the Lupine to make a Malevolenson with that Dragon Dark. We have 2 XCs, which means all we have to do is just get through these effects, and they can't get these monsters off the field without tribute summoning. So they temporarily banish the Duza, then they banish 3, some lights and darks, so they could special summon the Levineer, which gets 2 non-targeting pops. Dark is going to be able to search as well since it was banished. We're going to spawn with Econ, so we could just change one of their battle positions for the sake of it. They're going to add Dragon Duel from the deck to the hand, and they're going to end up popping Levy and our face-down Cubic Ascension. I was not expecting them to pop Levy, so all things considered, maybe it would have been better for me to just keep the Econ face down so they'd be less obligated to pop their own Levy. However, they summon Raiden, which is kind of even worse for them now. As they attempt to attack for game, we banish the Cubic Ascension, so we can special summon Vijam from the deck, and another Vijam from the deck, and another Vijam from the deck. And now, good luck dealing with this. Raiden gonna mill 2 as they end their turn, realizing there's nothing they could do to beat our wall currently. And now they're at a huge time limit. Duza attempted to come back from Malevolent Spire's effect, but it can't, so it just goes to the graveyard. We set our Karma Cut, and we end our turn. They're going to go ahead. They're going to activate Spooter's effect again, benching one of the Vijams. That's cool. As they attack into Vijam number 2, we don't negate Raiden's effect. We want him to keep milling, so we just protect that one. The Vijam that gets attacked by the M7, we let it get negated, so they can't attack us anymore with that M7. And in the end phase of the turn, they're going to mill 2 more. Enjoy the 2 cards left in your extra deck, or in your physical deck, as we special summon the Vijam that was banished from the Malevolent Sin, or I guess return it to the field, and we special summon the Vijam that was in the Spell and Trap zone, and we're just continuing the cycle. As they tribute over to Raiden to try to save themselves some time, they're going to attack into the Vijam. We could just negate the Malevolent Sin's effect by sending the Vijam back to the Spell and Trap zone. And realizing that there's absolutely nothing they could do to beat us now, they scoop it up. All right, we are going first against Reginald Sharkcastle, or however you say his name. And I said that we basically can't beat the Shark deck, or aka the Abyss deck, which is true, but this kind of isn't an Abyss deck. But I want to show it off anyway, because this is kind of a fun duel. It was really spicy, and it was really hyped to see what the opponent was playing. So we're going to go first. We're going to summon the Duza, mill in the Karma. Again, no point in milling the Ascension, because if they summon Dweller, we're not getting any value off of that Ascension. So we're going to banish the Karma so we get another Duza from the deck to the hand. We're going to be able to do some more mills with Duza for the follow-up if we need to. We're going to activate the Dharma. After turning their deck, we're going to be able to activate Dharma to discard the Vijam so we could draw a card, drawing into an Econ and setting that Econ, ending our turn. They're going to go ahead. They're going to normal summon the Gishki Abyss, which is going to allow them to add a Gishki monster with 1,000 or less defense from the deck to the hand. Adding the Gishki Shadow, activating Gishki Vision's effect so they could discard it, adding an evil Gishki Soul Ogre from deck to the hand. Gishki Shadow going to activate, discarding so they could add the Gishki Aquamirror from the deck to the hand. Then they're going to go ahead, activate Salvage so they could just gain the advantage, adding the Gishki Vision as well as the Gishki Shadow back to the hand from the graveyard. I'm going to activate the Gishki Aquamirror now, using the evil Gishki Soul Ogre as material to special summon, ritually, another evil Gishki Soul Ogre. Soul Ogre is going to be able to discard a Gishki monster to return our Duza back to the deck. Aquamirror is going to be able to return to the deck to return the evil Gishki Soul Ogre that was in the graveyard back to the hand. Activating Gishki Shadow's effect so we could add Aquamirror back to the hand from the deck. Going to activate that Gishki Aquamirror so you could use Shadow, the Gishki Shadow, as the full tribute material to make a second evil Gishki Soul Ogre. If they had one card in hand, they would have been able to do another removal. That was spicy, but they had to take a lot of resources just to do all those ritual plays. So they activate Territory to Sharks, making all their monsters level 4 so they could go into a rank 4 play. Abyss Dweller is here. We were expecting it. We knew they were going to shut us down. They're going to attack first with the Soul Ogre. We know it's the bigger monster. We want to stop it, but in case they don't attack again, if we stop it, we just take it, and we stop the Dweller with the Econ take. Also, we're more feasibly able to actually stop the Dweller because his defense is much lower than the evil Gishki. So we're going to stop the Dweller, and we're going to go and draw our cards. Dweller's going to immediately detach so they could prevent us from activating any graveyard effects, a good effect from them. We're still going to set up our graveyard. Summoning a second Duza, we're going to mill the Ascension for the follow-up. We're going to activate the Dharma's effect, discarding the Vijam so we could draw into another card. We're going to set our Econ, and we're going to attack into the Abyss Dweller, killing it. Now, this this player is going to be smart. Even though we don't take any battle damage right now, if our Dharma leaves the field, our Duza is a liability. So they're going to activate Aquamir's effect, returning it to the deck so they could add the evil Gishki Soul Ogre from the graveyard back to the hand. Soul Ogre on the field is going to discard the Soul Ogre in the hand, so they could send the Dharma back to the deck, which means this would be lethal. We would take battle damage here, but we say that's fine. As we go ahead and we activate Econ, we have ourselves a good old Econ take play. We chain to the Econ take the Ascension here because we still have no monsters on the field and they control a monster. We would summon 3 Vijams from the deck, hand, and graveyard, which means that Soul Ogre would have nowhere to go and it would be sent to the graveyard. Realizing that, they scoop. Okay, and with that being said, I don't know, that's the sign off. Enjoy, comment, like, subscribe or something. Don't. It's fine. Maybe it's not. Oh, we'll talk about it.